All right, here we are, the last day before the 2024 election between Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, representing the Democratic Party, representing freedom and justice, representing that flag that's flying behind me, and Donald Trump and J.D. Vance, representing the MAGA, representing one man rule, representing fascism. Now, this will most likely be my last video before the election is over, and God willing, and I'm a Christian, so I'm praying right now that Kamala Harris and Tim Walz are named the president and vice president-elect after this week. Rather than reiterating everything that I've already talked about over the last few weeks as to why Donald Trump cannot be in charge of the United States government again, because we already know the reasons why. We've seen them over the last 10 years, if you want to be more technical. From the very moment he walked down that golden escalator and said that Mexicans were drug dealers and rapists, they were sending their worst, or words to that effect. The moment he said that should have ended his political aspirations. But in 2016, he was elected. Now, I use the air quotes up there because we all know that somehow Russia had a hand in it. But he was in the Oval Office. I tried to give him the benefit of the doubt. He was the president, and I'm a military-minded person. He was the commander-in-chief. But what drove me away from him is his reaction to the Stop the Steal rally, in which a woman was killed and neo-Nazis and Ku Klux Klansmen were chanting, "Jews will not replace us." And Donald Trump's reaction to it is to call both sides good people. The neo-Nazis and Ku Klux Klansmen who marched screaming, "Jews will not replace us," and the people in Charlottesville, Virginia, the campus of the University of Virginia, who stood in their way, who stopped them, who tried to stop them, and the woman's life was lost. Instead of standing for America, he stood for his followers that were screaming, "Jews will not replace us," wearing his red hats, flying the swastika flag. That turned me off him completely. And at that point, I knew I could never support him as president of the United States, regardless of my military mindset of being commander-in-chief. See, the real problem everyone is forgetting is the fact that Donald Trump doesn't care about this country. Donald Trump defames and denigrates this country. Not too long ago, he called it a trash can country. When you're supposed to be the president of the United States, representing our nation, representing that flag behind me. Now, your job isn't to talk bad about it. Your job is to make it better, to make it stronger, to make it more united. The problem is Donald Trump has no intention of doing any of that. His number one intentions, and I'm not just repeating Kamala Harris's talking points, but this is the truth. Kamala Harris has said over and over again that he's planning on going in with an enemies list, and she's coming in with a to-do list. That is 100% true. Donald Trump has no intentions of making things better. The complaints that he and his supporters have actually complained about, he won't do anything about. He has spent his time airing out his grievances to the point where someone actually took a shot at him. He's aired out all of his grievances that makes me think that this guy, if someone talks bad about him, if someone talks wrong about him, he will burn everything to the ground. You've already heard that Donald Trump has no intention of honoring the results of this election unless he wins. And even if he wins, He's probably still going to complain that I got more votes. I should have more votes. I should have more electoral college votes. Other than that, I should have all of them, not just this small number. That is who he is, and that is what he is. What he is nothing more than a spoiled brat that has been taken to task over and over and over again. The convictions in New York, all 38 convictions, were because he broke the law. Not because of the deep state, not because of this, that, and the other. It's because he broke the law. He was tried and he was convicted by a jury of his peers. And the thing of it is, they're not even real huge crimes. Not like molestation, which he probably should be on trial for. Not for stealing the election, which he should definitely be on trial for. Not even for January 6th, when he should definitely be on trial for that. Donald Trump is like a young boy who is told on Halloween that he can't have all the candy, that he should save it for later. The problem is he doesn't want it later, he wants it right now. As President of the United States, he is going to be in charge of the biggest military this world has ever seen, and the most lethal nuclear arms that this world has ever seen. That is a power that Donald Trump should never have, ever. That is a power that Donald Trump should never have his hands on ever again. Now, you may not like Kamala Harris. You might not like Tim Walz, but never have I felt any kind of threatening things from them. Now, they're still politicians and they still will make mistakes. However, when you look at Donald Trump, I see Adolf Hitler. I see Idi Amin. I see Osama bin Laden. I see the people from the hordes of our history. I see Andrew Jackson. I see George Wallace. I see the people who will burn this country down just because a few people are different, because a few people won't kiss their asses, a few people won't bow to them. Donald Trump was ultimate power, and he is reacting like a man like I said earlier, whose parents told him, no, you can't have all the candy. You have to save it for later. When I look at Kamala Harris, I see that. I see the flag. I see the Constitution. I see America. Not because she happens to be an American of color, not because she's a woman, but because she represents what my country is supposed to be. Honorable, united, justice, equality. Everything this country is supposed to be. That's what Kamala Harris is. When I look at Trump, I see a person who at one point or another is going to snap. Hell, he's already snapped. You've seen how unbelievably unstable this man is. You've seen how unstable, out of control he can be. I see Donald Trump as being the end of the United States of America if he's reelected. I see Donald Trump as the end of that if he's reelected. Because at no point has he ever said anything good about this nation. It's been all negative, and the number one reason why it's been all negative isn't because Joe Biden's made mistakes, which he has. It isn't because Kamala Harris has made mistakes, which she has. It's because he isn't the one in control. He had a taste of ultimate power that the presidency gave him, and now he's reacting like a guy. I'm sorry, I keep going back to that analogy of the kids and the candy from Halloween, but that is the best analogy I can think of. He had a taste of it, and he wants it back. We told him no in 2020, and he threw a hissy fit, and it cost the lives of innocent people and police officers. It nearly cost us our constitutional republic. And the worst part of it is, Donald Trump is giving us every reason why we should not be electing him. Whether it's his horrendous performances at his rallies, the name calling, the threats, all of that. He keeps giving us reasons why he should never be in the Oval Office ever again. And his followers, I really don't know what to say about them. They're just ready to fall off the cliff just for him. They're willing to burn that down for him. They're willing to do that. They are seriously willing to do that. And I cannot for the life of me understand why. Is it because it's Donald Trump? Is that your reason? Donald Trump is not worth all that. So, I made my choice last week. I stood in line and I voted for Kamala Harris. Not because she's a woman, not because she's a woman of color, but because there's a deeper reason, a very much personal reason for me. I'm going to give you that reason. I'm going to close this out. I'm a churchgoer. I'm a saved Christian. I go to church every Sunday. Maybe I probably should go to Bible study more. I read my Bible and everything else. But everything in me, when I was in line, I saw families there. I saw children who are probably 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years old with their parents standing in line waiting to vote. Then I started thinking about the kids in my church, the kids that are in a school not too far away from where I live. I started thinking about those kids. Why did I think about those kids? Because in the end of the day, Donald Trump is perhaps one of the most vilest human beings you could ever imagine. And do I really want to put this man in charge of their lives? Do I really want to put their lives in the hands of a lunatic like Donald Trump? I was going to vote for Harris anyway, but then all that came to my mind. And that was very, very personal to me. And it hit me right there in the solar plexus that I cannot support Donald Trump, even if he gets reelected. As I said, hopefully by Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, Kamala Harris and Tim Walz will be named the president and vice president-elect. But even afterwards, Donald Trump, we know this, because we always known this. Donald Trump is going to pull a hissy fit and say, no, it was me. I won. He's going to inflame all the crowd. He's going to inflame the MAGA, and we may be on the verge of another January 6th, only 10 times more deadlier. So, my last message is this. For us who believe in freedom, who believe in justice, who believe in equality, and what the Constitution is, and what those flags, the American flag, the Army flag, the Air Force flag, the Navy flag, the Marine Corps flag, the Coast Guard flag, those flags represents when we win this election, we celebrate, yes. But tomorrow we get to work. Donald Trump has done irreparable damage to this country, to this generation of Americans. We have a chance to fix that right now. By some miracle of the devil, that Donald Trump wins this election, please, do not do anything foolish. We leave the stupidity and the violence and the terrorism. And yes, I'm going to use that word when it comes to January 6th, because that was a terrorist attack on this country just as bad as 9/11. And yeah, I said it and I mean it. Please don't cross that line. If Donald Trump, by some miracle of the devil himself, wins. But quite honestly, I don't believe the polls, but the enthusiasm I'm seeing from the Harris campaign, the enthusiasm I'm seeing from Harris voters, I think we can win this thing. I think so. And honestly, I'm going to be incredibly proud to call her Madam President. I believe that she can win. The question becomes, will we do what we need to do to make sure she does? Right now, early voting is still on is still on in many states of this country. Make a plan. Vote. And Tuesday, the big day, make a plan. Take vacation time if you have to. Take sick time if you have to. Quit your job if you have to. But vote. Kamala Harris has to be the president of the United States. Donald Trump had this chance and he failed miserably. Donald Trump does not represent our country. Donald Trump does not represent those flags. Donald Trump does not represent me, and he should not represent you. And as far as Donald Trump is concerned, when Donald Trump loses in the next couple of days, Donald Trump needs to fuel up his plane and run to Russia. And maybe, just maybe, he'll survive the myriad of cases against him. But that's a big baby, because if it were up to me, I hunt the son of a bitch down until he's ready to confess. But that's just me. Make a plan and vote. This is our last chance to end the cancer that is Donald John Trump. And when that cancer is excised from our nation and Kamala Harris is named and sworn in on January 20th of 2025 as the new president of the United States, we get to work in fixing the damage left behind by the MAGA and by Donald Trump. My sleeves are rolled up for the work. Are yours? CTP, know the truth. God bless. Peace to the left, justice to the right.